Alright guys, I'm back to do another coin update. This time it's going to be on Cardano. As most of you know, I've been a pretty big fan of Cardano since I found out about it pretty much when I got into crypto, which is like a year and a half ago at this point. For those of you who may have missed it, I actually did a live interview with Charles Hoskinson way back, probably 6 months ago now at this point. So if you missed it, you should go check it out. We covered a lot of stuff. It was like a 2-hour interview. It was really awesome, and I was really grateful for the opportunity to do that. Please don't forget to hit that like button or that subscribe button if you haven't. I've been putting out content pretty frequently, and I would hate for anybody to miss out. If you guys are interested in supporting the channel, you can go over to my Patreon, or you can go on my merch store on my website and pick up some merch. I've got a bunch of random stuff over there. My usual disclaimer, which is I'm not a financial advisor. All investments have inherent risk, and please do your own research. In the spirit of transparency, because I like to disclose my holdings, I am still holding all of the ADA from when I did my first Cardano video. I actually bought more in these most recent dips. I'd like to remind people that this content is not paid for, it is not reimbursed for by any company, any groups, and I have no financial incentive in making these review videos. Normally I like to wear crypto swag related to whatever I'm covering. I have a Cardano hoodie that I love, but it's like 90 degrees in my house, so I opted not to wear it because I figured nobody wanted to see me sweating on screen. All right, so what has Cardano been doing as of lately? Well, recently, which is a pretty big deal, they released their paper wallets for Daedalus. For those of you who don't know what a paper wallet is, it's offline cold storage. It's a method of saving your cryptocurrency and includes printing out your public and private keys on a piece of paper in which you can store in either a safe or a safe deposit box or whatever. And usually the keys are printed in the form of a QR code, which can later be scanned to be utilized for something else. The idea behind it is that it's not connected to the internet, and because of that, it's a very safe, secure way to store things. I know that asking for paper wallets was actually something that was pretty common, and people were requesting it in Daedalus, so this was a big thing people were very excited about. The next thing that I'm super excited about would be Ledger adding Cardano or ADA support. This has been in the works for quite a while. It's definitely something that I hear get talked about a lot. I know that Charles Hoskinson had done a live kind of just review AMA on YouTube where he'd mentioned a couple months ago that they were going to add the support. Based on what I'm seeing, external development, I don't know if that means that they're waiting on Cardano to send over the stuff that they need to set it up on the Ledger or vice versa. But as you can see, there's a lot of comments here from people that are looking forward to it. For me, being able to store cryptocurrency on a Ledger is a huge pro. I've said that from the very beginning. The day I got my Ledger, I moved everything I could onto it, and I suggest that most people do the same. It's definitely the safest way to store all your cryptocurrency. And because I love Cardano so much, it would be nice for me to be able to store all of my crypto on there. I think they were also stating that there will possibly be staking and other things involved as far as Ledger support goes. So that's a huge incentive for me too, because don't get me wrong, I like having stuff on my computer because it's accessible, but I plan on holding Cardano for an extremely long time. So being able to put it somewhere where it's going to stake and just kind of do its own thing and be safe is very promising. All right, next up is their partnership. So in May, there was an announcement that Cardano had partnered with MedApps Plus, which made it an acceptable payment method as part of their South Korean-based payment service. MedApps Plus is a mobile payment service that advocates for the integration of cryptos and digital assets into its active platforms and mobile payment apps. As you can see here, there's also a quote where the team behind ADA stresses that this partnership is very important for Cardano, not only because it promotes ADA in the market as a currency worth being invested in, but also broadens the targeted market while widening the accessibility of ADA in the market. And that's really all we can ask for in cryptocurrency, right? Is accessibility and usability and adoption. So any partnership, and I know that word gets thrown around a lot, but any partnership that's going to help further our cause with cryptocurrency is a good partnership. All right, next up is the redesign. So in January of this year, Hoskinson saw this video online and ended up kind of sparking a whole redesign. It is a history of Cardano from 2015 to 2018 as far as like a visualization of all the progress and the updates to their GitHub. Basically, Cardano states that they decided to start a redesign behind this because they feel they had their fair share of trolls making false accusations online that Cardano is vaporware. Vaporware is basically a fancy word for saying that they have no project or no product and that it's kind of a lie. This animation uses the data from GitHub to show where Cardano developers had updated or added a new piece of code to the project. It created an active visualization showing the progress, essentially debunking a lot of these claims. So because of that, this video in particular, it ended up making them want to do a rebrand. They ended up using some of the features from this video to help with the rebrand as like icons and things on the screen. I really liked the video. I think that any visual learning aid is very important, which is why I add so many images and things to my videos too. And it does really help put it in perspective for people because, again, I say this all the time, but we all have an attention span of like 5 whole seconds in this space. And if somebody's not putting out new content, new information, new something every single day, people forget, what happened yesterday. They're more interested in what's happening tomorrow. So it's cool that somebody created this to really show the progression of a project. And what would be neat is if people created this for other projects, and then we could kind of compare and contrast based on work done on other GitHubs, who was doing more developing versus not, and so on. All right, so the next important thing is the updates to Plutus or Plutus Core. Plutus, which comes from the ancient Greek deity of wealth, is a Haskell-derived language used to express smart contracts on the Cardano platform and is developed by IOHK. This is important because smart contracts are a huge component of Cardano, and so obviously, as it says here, it's only 15% done as far as staging, and it's in early development. But the fact that they're making progress on it, because I think the last time I checked, it was actually at 10%. I love these progress bars and these percentages, but showing here, it's extremely important as far as increasing richer interactions and other things with the blockchain on the Cardano platform. So any development on this is very important. The next update development we've seen is updates to the Yili virtual machine. So the new version of the virtual machine would serve as a lower level uniform platform that is capable for translating higher level languages and executing smart contracts. So Yili, the virtual machine, and Plutus are obviously going to work hand in hand here. The virtual machine would make writing secure contracts much easier, and this development is in 95%. The next thing on the roadmap that's really important is the Goguen Yili testnet launch. So pretty much the testnet is going to be how people are going to create smart contracts, test them, and see how they work in sort of like a vacuum environment. The private network is going to be able to be used to be tested with code, tested with smart contracts, see if there's any integration or any bugs, issues early on to prevent any catastrophic problems going forward. So Plutus is how they write smart contracts, and then Goguen is the application or the layer of Cardano that runs the smart contracts. So this, the Yili virtual machine and Plutus all work hand in hand. So they're all very important, and it's good to see some progress. Obviously, as you can see, Goggen's at 75% stages implementation, so they're getting very close to being able to put out the testnet. The last thing I want to touch on, unless you've been living under a rock, you've heard about Coinbase exploring the addition of Cardano, Basic Attention Token, Stellar, Zcash, and 0x. Don't get your hopes up, obviously, because Coinbase is Coinbase, but I do think the projects that they picked are interesting. I don't necessarily know if I agree with all of them, but I'll keep my sort of opinion to myself. I'm excited to see if Cardano does end up getting added, because I think it's going to, again, legitimize the project and maybe decrease some of the concerns with people yelling about it being vaporware, even though it's not. And I think, BAT is also, and Stellar are also very good contenders. I don't know much about 0x. But it was cool to see Cardano getting a little bit of spotlight again, because I think in the last couple months with the development and sort of the market being bad, that nobody's really been paying much attention to it. And I do think that it still deserves the attention that it was getting in the past. All right, guys. Well, that about wraps it up for my quick little update. Cardano's been doing a lot of development, but the progress bars are moving. There's not a lot necessarily to show on websites and other things to kind of prove that point. But their roadmap is fantastic. They're always updating things, and there's always a way to see what's new, what's been changed, what's been added. So I would definitely suggest going to look at it and getting yourself familiar with it, so you have an idea of what they're improving on and when there are updates and kind of stuff to look forward to. As usual, I want to thank everybody for watching. You're the best, and I appreciate all the support that I'm always getting. And in the meantime, I'll see you guys soon.